Hello adventurers, it's your man Zero here, your favorite hero. Guys, Cait Sith has been released in the game and looking really interesting, and I bet you're wondering, what weapons do I need to take to 120 for Cait Sith, and which ones should I be prioritizing? Well, let's hop in and do a quick tier list so that way you know which ones you need to focus on. Alright guys, so because the Cait Sith is so new to us, we don't actually have any free-to-play weapons quite yet, probably in the next event, personally I think. So we don't have anything to put into the never slot. So first let's focus on going through these in order. We have here the Battle Trumpet, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the Battle Trumpet and we're going to slide it right up here into S. It's got pretty good R abilities at P attack 46 and boost ability potency at 39. So it's pretty solid in terms of our abilities, as well as it does decrease magic attack and P attack based on critical chance. So it has a pretty good use case, but it's not one that I'm going to recommend putting to 120 at this point. It's definitely one that you want to probably take up to like 80 or 90 because it will have a good amount of functionality on Cait Sith, but it's not going to be one that you're going to be really using as your main DPS unit. Okay, next guys, we've got the Marching Horn, and the Marching Horn is actually a fantastic weapon. It is going to go into S plus for me, and the reason why is because it is both a heal weapon. So if you want to get Cait Sith to be like your sub healer or whatever, it's going to be useful for that case. And it also does your P attack increase. On top of all of that, though, it's got a crazy amount of heal at 62, which is a huge amount of heals, and it's got buff and debuff potency duration. So if you have this weapon going on and you have it leveled up to 120 and you got it to OB10, this thing is going to be one that you're definitely going to be putting on Aerith or any of your main healers because it is going to be a major benefit to those characters. So definitely one that I suggest putting into S+, as well as this one is a current weapon that we can get from like our tickets. So if you're not going to be pulling on the banner, you might be able to get a copy of this, and that is a really good place to start with Cait Sith. Next up, we have the Blue Megaphone, and the Blue Megaphone is actually one that I'm gonna drop into A. I think that it's a good place for it as HP R ability as well as Ice Potency R ability, so pretty decent for that, but it's not one that you're gonna be putting up to 90 or anything, maybe to 80, that's probably cap, as well as it does ice damage, so it's an elemental based weapon, but it's not one that actually decreases resistances or anything like that. So its use case is very DPS oriented, with a not the greatest R abilities, right? So we're going to put it into A. I think that's a nice place for it. And we're going to leave it there. And I think we're going to be getting better elemental weapons for Cait Sith in the future. So this one belongs in A, in my opinion. Now, next up here is, this is one that's a little bit controversial. And in my opinion, the Crystal Megaphone is a B level weapon. And the reason why is because though the skill itself is quite good, we got a really weird conflicting R ability here. So we have P attack increase for R ability, as well as boost magic ability potency. So it's really conflicting between those two. You're not going to have characters that utilize both of those simultaneously. So I think B is a good place for it. It's not one you're going to be really focusing on. You might level this up for using it in battle and stuff, but it will not be one that you will be putting up to 120 anytime soon. All right, next up we have the Golden Microphone, and this one I think is really, really good. It does do decrease resistances, so I'm going to put it up to S. It has a decent amount of our abilities at 49 for attack, P attack rather, and it does boost fire potency. So because of the resistance decrease, I do consider it a little bit more valuable than the ones that just do elemental damage, and it has a pretty decent base physical attack. So I'm going to put it up here as it also does magic attack decrease. Like this weapon right here is fantastic. Really, really good weapon to have in your arsenal. I don't think you're going to be putting it up to 120, but you're definitely going to be 90ing it. Same with the, of course, Battle Trumpet. It's one that you're going to be putting in your roster pretty quickly. Hopefully you guys can get some OB2s of these, or at least a 5-star. But within that same kind of vein, we have the Green Trumpet, and Green Trumpet is also going to go up here into the S class. It does water resistance down, so this one you're going to be putting on your team if you have like your Glen, right, your Water Glen, or you're going to be running your Maritime Sword or whichever, and it is also going to be running a 46 magic attack as well as water potency increase. So those R abilities are going to be really good once we have some magic attackers that use water. So this will be really solid. So definitely one that I think is S class. Next up, we have the fire, or rather red microphone. This one here is pretty good with its R abilities of HP at 46 and fire attack potency. It doesn't have the attack potencies that I really like to see in S, so I'm going to drop it here into A. I think it's a really good place for it. It does just the fire elemental damage again, doesn't do resistance down, so definitely one that you're probably going to be putting up to 80, so you don't want to spend any kind of mythical ore on it, but I definitely think that is going to be one that you want to have in your team builds, just so that way you can get that elemental attack going, right? And it is, all these of course are all hits, so very useful. Now the great yellow megaphone. This one actually is a little bit interesting. So the calculations for this in terms of damage are phenomenal. This is the weapon that you're going to be mostly using for your damage output, because it is the one that does the multiplier of 700% on any kind of damage that you output, the 3 times that if you crit. So this one is a fantastic S plus weapon. If you're looking for upgrading or a tier list for like weapon range, then it's going to be an S plus for in terms of weapons that you're going to be utilizing. For in terms of weapons that you're going to be putting to 120, on the other hand, this one's probably going to be more like an S. And the reason why is because the R abilities are just not quite there with 46 P attack and boost ability potency. But again, if you're going to be utilizing this list for what weapons you should be focusing on building, just so that you can get the DPS out, this one would be like an S plus. So definitely keep that one in mind. A very good weapon. If you increase this one to like 120 and you are getting those crit damages, you're going to be racking up damage. It's going to be phenomenal. Great weapon, and probably the best DPS weapon for Cait Sith at this current moment. I'm just going to put it back down to S here, because that's where, in terms of 120, I think it lands. All right, guys, next we have the silver microphone. Guys, this one is kind of like the trumpet, so it is pretty decent. It could go into S, but because the R abilities are HP and boost ability potency, I'm just going to put it into A. It's a good weapon, but it's not one that you're going to be putting into 120, but it does do P def down. So if you're going to be using Cait Sith with builds for physical attack damage dealers, this one will be really good, but it doesn't do heal or anything like that. It just has a decent amount of damage as well as physical defense down. So good weapon, but not a 120 weapon. All right, and finally, guys, we have our flower vase. Guys, this weapon is our first ever banner weapon for Cait Sith. A very good weapon. It is going up here into S+, and that is specifically because it has a magic attack R ability at 62, just like the other one that we had here, are 62. Guys, this weapon is very good. Good heal weapon, solid. Hopefully you guys can get a copy of it at OB0, or rather just 5-star. But guys, don't fret about getting any of these weapons. You can get a lot of these weapons just from your tickets now, as well as you will be able to wishlist them in the future. So don't fret about pulling on this banner if you're not going to. I'm not, so I actually just use all my tickets, and I got a pretty good results, to be honest. So that's it for this one. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do like, please do sub and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care, adventurers. Be well.